In my 40 years of making movies, the trend has been to get rid of the regulations that used to protect the public against monopoly. There used to be a rule called the consent decree, which prevented the media conglomerates from owning and controlling movie theaters. And during those periods, up until around the mid-'80s, there were a lot more independent movies coming to the movie theaters, and there were a lot more chains. There were independent chains all over the country. So if you had a film that the public might want to see, like we did, and we were nothing in the early 70s, we just started in 1974, you could get your movie to the marketplace in the movie theaters. But unfortunately, the consent decree was done away with. And then, much worse, there was something called the financial syndication rule. And that rule prevented the networks from owning the content, what they showed on TV. And also, the networks were required under the financial syndication rule to play 35% of their programming from independent sources. And if you recall, and probably many of you weren't even born, but in the 70s, there was a major revolution in television. You had the Jeffersons, you had All in the Family. It's a very interesting programming. You did not have the same reality show on 500 channels. Yeah. So that is the issue. And as chairman of the Independent Film and Television Alliance, we it's a kind of tilting in windmills, but we're doing our best to try to bring to the attention of the Federal Communications Committee, the Federal Communications Commission, the U.S. Congress, the Senate, that there are huge numbers of jobs which are going away. They're going away to foreign lands because we independents here and even abroad are basically economically blacklisted from the American television scene. And that includes HBO, and that includes Showtime. They play independent movies, but they only play the ones that come in through major vassals, the vassals of the majors, divisions, so-called independent divisions of the majors. The other problem, of course, is that when an independent film does get on American television, and usually through, it usually has to come in through the major, it gets a much smaller license fee. So how our independent, Academy Award-winning movie Monster, I may have the percentages wrong, but I think it got about 10% of what the Big Monty got for television, because the Big Monty was part of Fox's output deal. So the problem is there is a huge, the playing field, which used to be, when I started 40 years ago, was slightly disadvantageous to us independents. It is now basically perpendicular, and like a greased stripper's pole. You cannot get up, you cannot climb it. It's almost impossible. And if you're doing anything that's slightly subversive or slightly world-changing, you're really in trouble. If you make a nice movie about a middle-class white girl who gets pregnant and it's really cute, and which, by the way, was written by an aging stripper, a movie called Juno, and it costs $12 million. You might get it distributed. You might get it distributed if you play the Hollywood game. So that is the problem. Basically, we, the public, are victims of a cartel that runs the information and entertainment industry. And it's very dangerous with the news, because you now have Fox and GE Universal, I'm sorry, News Corp, Fox, GE, and GE Universal combining their news coverage. As if the news wasn't the same anyway on TV. Now they're working together. And the most dangerous part of all this is that the internet, the last democratic medium, the last medium where there is some diversity, the last medium which isn't racist or sexist like the movie industry, the last one is under assault. It's under assault because the MPAA, the trade association for the conglomerates, Time Warner, News Corp, Viacom, Paramount, they're down here 24 hours a day with the phone companies trying to get rid of net neutrality. The MPAA, which is the trade association for the big guys, has come out against net neutrality. They don't want a free and open and diverse internet. They don't want that, because they'd have to get out of bed in the morning and actually compete. They'd have to do some business. So the only thing those guys fear, the only thing that the conglomerates fear, is that the government might regulate them a little more. So if we can kick up a little dust, and if we can get some attention, if we can get some media attention, if we can prompt some hearings here about the state of the industry, the independent industry, and the true facts about diversity on the airways, and the true facts about how important it is to keep a democratic internet, if we can make enough noise about it, it is hopeful. We hope, my company, Trome Entertainment, and much more important, the Independent Film and Television Alliance, we hope that maybe the giant conglomerates who fear nobody, I mean, their stocks are in the toilet, they clearly don't care about the stockholders, maybe they will fear the U.S. government, and maybe they will voluntarily open up their markets a bit more to independent. They call it content or product. I much prefer to call it art. Thank you. People from Time Warner are leaving the room.
They can't take
No.
the heat.